Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September 20th, 2018 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting. Would everyone please stand and join me in the pledge allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll call the meeting to order at 9 o'clock sharp, and at this time I'd like to open up the floor to any public comments. Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item number 3 and call on Commissioner DiFilippo and Dan Vest and Tammy Bender joining us on the GFOA award. The whole budget team. Right here.
What's that? Yeah. Right. That was not right. See everything.
Michelle, you don't mind.
80s and gentlemen, for the 11th consecutive year, Cumberland County has been recognized for meeting national best practice standards when preparing its annual budget. The county earned the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association, also known as GFOA, for the preparation and presentation of its 2018 budget. Commissioners and Finance Office staff today are receiving a certificate of recognition from GFOA, and the award recognizes state and local governments for preparing budget documents that adhere to both GFOA best practices on budgeting and guidelines from the National Advisory Council on state and local budgeting. Budget documents are assessed in 4 categories. A budget must be effective not only as a financial plan, but also as a policy document, a guide to government operations, and a means of communicating information to the public. Budget documents must have a minimum rating of proficient in those 4 categories, and then the 14 mandatory criteria within the categories to earn this award. The Government Finance Officers Association is a professional association of more than 19,000 appointed and elected state, local, and provisional level government officials in the United States and Canada. More than 1,000 governmental agencies participate in this awards program. Folks, congratulations. Here is your official 2018 sticker that we'll put on the award here on the but great job. Dana, anything you want to say?
It takes a team, the whole county team, to pull this document together. The finance office, all of the staff in the finance office works very hard, but it takes all the departments to pull together and do their part because a lot of work throughout the county goes into this, so thank you.
Thank you very much. I feel kind of dumb here.
That's how we always do this.
All right.
And everybody in back, just one step forward.
Okay.
Okay. That looks great. Tammy, just
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a few. Give me a smile. Okay, smile again. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Congratulations, Finance, and congratulations to the entire county. Okay, that takes us to agenda item number 4, and we have Kate Molinaro is with us today to discuss both agenda items number 4 and 5, the 2018 CDBG and Home Grant Awards, as well as the CDBG and Home Administrative Grants.
Good morning. Good morning. As you remember, in June, the Commissioners adopted the final budget for the 2018 CDBG and Home Awards. CDBG, the award amount is $1,187,618, and for Home it's $519,088. These are increases over 2017 amounts, and so I would ask that on Monday the Commissioners execute the grant agreements with HUD for both programs. These are for the program year that started January 1st of this year. And then also item number 5, I would ask that the Commissioners also execute the administrative agreements with the redevelopment authority to administer both programs.
Any questions, comments?
Okay,
Thank you.
Covered 4 and 5?
we'll see you at noon if I get out.
You will. We are moving along. That takes us then to agenda item number 6 under contracts and grants, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Moyle.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Commissioner. We'll begin with agenda item 6 under rule line A through F, which are existing contracts, contract extensions, or addendums with no additional costs or increase to the county. They include the following departments: Aging and Community Service, Children and Youth, Paramount Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, Commissioner's Office, Drug and Alcohol, and MHIVD. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments regarding any of the above mentioned agreements? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 6, line 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, contracts, and contracts with increases and decreases to the county. To begin by calling on Christine Bowden, who's joining us today via video teleconferencing to discuss the 5 agreements for aging and community services. Christine?
Good morning. We're asking for approval for 3 senior centers to receive amendments for 2017-18, the Big Spring, East Pennsboro, and Minnow Haven, to have additional funding for their operating costs. The Angels on Call and Home Care for Living Well are personal care contracts, which we gave all of our providers an increase of 30 cents to keep us competitive with the other counties around to provide the services.
Any questions for Christine? Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item B and call on Solicitor Brennan to discuss the agreement for the second term.
Morning, Commissioners. This is a contract for the new solicitor to the Board of Assessment Appeals. It establishes the salary for the position and also notes your approval, which is required under the applicable law.
Any questions for Keith?
Same compensation as previously.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to agenda item C, and Anita Brewster will be discussing the CASA Court Administrator's Agreement. Anita?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a program that Dickinson offers. It's an internship program, and it essentially invites freshmen into a 3-year contract that allows at least 1 year of that time to go abroad. It's no cost to us. It's a fantastic deal. We don't have to train them every time we turn around. We hope that we will be able to find another intern through that program again.
Any questions for Anita? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item D is an agreement for the Commissioner's Office, Xerox, and it is to replace our expired lease of our current copier. The previous contract totaled $17,468.64. The new contract will be $13,775.52, with a total decrease of $3,693.12. Do you have any questions on be discussing the district attorney Friends Lab grant. Eric?
Good morning, Commissioners. The grant before you for $86,000 no-match grant from the Paul Cumberland Forensics Improvement Science Improvement Fund that's administered through PCCD. It's a grant to support our laboratory accreditation, and it also supplies some resources to do with police training plans for evidence collection and crimes.
Any questions for Eric? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call on Michelle Seibert, who will be discussing the 3 grants for victim services. Michelle?
Morning, Commissioners. The 3 grants before you will bring in over $500,000 to support victim services. I'm asking for your approval on all 3. Signatures can make until Monday. I have to have them mailed by Friday the 28th. The first one is our VOCA non-competitive. This is a supplemental grant to the already existing VOCA grant we received. So it's an additional $93,000. I would note that I'm using some of those funds to help with the move. Victim Services was told we are moving to 2R, and I met with maintenance a couple weeks ago. So it will help with the construction of that space. So it will be of little to no cost to the county when we move. The next one is the VOCA competitive. This is one that is not guaranteed. It is just what the name suggests, it is competitive. It's about $160,000. If we do not receive this grant, then none of the budgeted items will be, we won't provide those services or fill those positions. And then RAZA is a grant, RAZA VOJO is a grant we get every 2 years. It supports every advocate and every admin staff in the office, and it also supports our juvenile advocate, 90% of her salary.
Any questions for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to move on to agenda item E, and call on Renee Strike to discuss IDD agreements, which consists of 1 agreement for fiscal year 2018-19 intellectual and developmental disabilities, and 4 agreements for fiscal year 2018-19 mental health.
Good morning. Well, the contracts before you, the first one is actually for the intellectual and developmental disabilities side of our office, and it's for one of our residential programs. It's a slight increase of about $2,000, and that's related to a state set rate, so we really have no control over that increase. It's a state set rate. Again, all of these funds are through the Human Services Block Grant that we receive through the state. Specific to the MH side, we have 3 different grants. One with Alert Pharmacy. As you will probably recall, a number of years ago, we chose to move that out of the county mental health office, and we contract with an external provider for individuals who require medication support. And so for individuals who are not medical assistance eligible, who do not have private insurance, the county offers support for medication payment. So that's with Alert Pharmacy, and it's actually a decrease of about $58,000, and I attribute that to the number of Medicaid eligible individuals. That's one way the Affordable Care Act has assisted us. And then the next 2 is specific to Geisinger Holy Spirit. And again, these contracts are actually decreased. The first being through inpatient, the EAC. Last year we were still closing the extended acute unit at Geisinger Holy Spirit through about December of last year. So that unit is closed. So that contract has decreased. That's specifically for outpatient, partial, and targeted case management. And then the next contract would be a decrease, and that's more for the administrative pieces, the case management side of the work that we do, crisis intervention, and again, it's a decrease of about $17,000. The last contract is with Marikey Stevens Center, and that's a renewal from a previous year, and that is also a decrease of about $25,000. And I don't know if you folks have any questions.
I don't accept that, just a comment. I think that, this is demonstrating that the Medicaid expansion is actually saving the county costs.
That's correct.
So that's good to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on Claudia Gardner, who's joining us via video teleconferencing to discuss the CenturyLink agreement. Claudia?
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good.
So before you today, we have an agreement with CenturyLink. This is for a fiber connection that will guarantee a high reliability and connectivity to ensure that subscribers who try to send an emergency text message to the 911 center will be delivered. And that guarantee is known as a Service Level Agreement, SLA, and is only available on fiber connections. Currently, we have a copper connection, so we need to install this as part of our Text to 911 project, but it will also be utilized by some of our other services that we have with that connectivity. The contract is a 12-month agreement, and it is $958 per month for a total of $11,496. And while this is a new agreement, we did budget for this in our 2018 budget, and it is an eligible item under the 911 Uniform Fund revenue. This was part of our project that we talked to you about. We talked with the capital team, that is, on August 28th, and then we also reviewed it together at the Public Safety Review Team meeting on August 29th. So again, it's a one-year agreement for fiber connectivity, and it's $11,496. Any questions?
Thank you, Claudia.
Thanks, have a good day.
You too. That's all I have to
Thank you, Sandy. That takes us to agenda item number 7. I'd like to call on Jack Carroll to discuss the appointment recommendation of Andy Strike to the Local Area Behavioral Health Collaborative. Jack, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. As you know, the Capital Area Behavioral Health Collaborative is a non-profit corporation that we set up along with the Commissioners of Perry, Dauphin, Lancaster, and Lebanon counties to manage our regional behavioral health choices program for medical assistance recipients. According to the bylaws of that nonprofit corporation, there are 10 board members. Each county gets to appoint 2 board members, one mental health representative and one drug and alcohol representative. Each county can also identify an alternate to that board representative. Sylvia Herman, recently retired NHIDD administrator, was the mental health representative for Perry County and the alternate mental health representative for Cumberland County. In her absence, we need to fill her slot. The Perry County Commissioners acted on Monday to appoint Annie Strike, our new MHID administrator, to serve as their mental health representative. And my recommendation to you this morning is that you take a similar action and appoint Annie to be the alternate mental health representative for Cumberland County. The primary mental health representative for Cumberland County is Linda McCullough, the fiscal officer for MHID. And just to remind you, I'm the drug and alcohol representative for Cumberland County, and my fiscal officer, Ryan Simon, is the alternate for Cumberland County. Any questions about that?
No, you're willing to accept it, right?
Yes, thank you.
There is no additional compensation for being a board member. It's just part of our job, being county employees.
And of course, we've also wanted to take into consideration the recommendation of our colleagues to the board. So
That's right, yeah.
they already signed off, so.
They couldn't have made a mistake. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for bringing this forward, Amy, for taking the role.
Thank you.
Brings us to agenda item number 8. I'd like to call on Melissa Smith to discuss a software replacement, which I would just note is a process improvement as well as a cost savings.
That that is. Currently, we use a system from Cerner called Care Tracker to track all the information through the computer. That runs us almost $31,000 annually. The system that we're looking at, the new software, is part of the Net Solutions, which is the package that we currently use. So it's the same company.
For AR, sorry.
Well, we use it for AR, but we use it for clinical stuff as well. But this is going to expand that clinical capability. So we'd like to purchase a software package called Point of Care, which will replace the Care Tracker. But along with that, we would like an infection control and incident reporting software package, a scheduling package, and an assignment package. With all of that, the initial purchase of the software and the monthly maintenance fee and support fees, the first year we expect to save almost $12,000, $11,742. That's with the actual purchase of the software. The second year, the savings will be almost $24,000. It's simply an expansion of what we currently already have. We won't have this connection issues back and forth. There will be, however, we couldn't get Cerner to allow us a data dump of our information that they're storing now. So there's an annual fee with them of $3,200 that has to be paid every year, probably for the next 10 years, because it's housing medical records. But again, that's all included in the savings that I gave.
Is it that they couldn't or they wouldn't provide us the transfer of information?
They said they wouldn't. They did say they couldn't. So I talked with Net Solutions on that, and they said they weren't surprised. That's usually the answer they get from Cerner. So.
And if I might just add, we've researched this and we understand that the original name was Keen, or one of the original names.
Keen, then it's Solutions, now it's Quintana.
And we're expanding that, but we understand that they're already interacting with Managed Medicaid in the western part of the state.
Yes, they are.
And this looks like this is a cost-effective, full solution for the clinical side and medical records as well as the billing.
Yes.
And saves us some money and will match with Managed Medicaid and precludes us from having to move to, you may recall, discussion about a point-click care software, which may be a more broader software, but this was already in-house and we're looking to more fully utilize this.
Right. And we included in the cost is the training, so everybody gets educated on how to use the software and how to use more effectively the software that we already have.
So this is a premier improvement in my opinion.
Melissa, the first year cost you have noted is $19,011, which is some capital, some expense. The second year you have $7,700. Is that like a maintenance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to ask our solicitor to kind of take a look at this issue relative to us having to obtain Cerner. So whether there's any way that we might be able to get, I mean, it's our data, and it doesn't seem right that we need to continue to engage with Cerner just because we're changing vendors here or whatever. So I don't know, Keith, whether you can take a look at that, see if there's any alternatives that we might have to deal with that situation. So.
I'll send you my contact information. Okay.
But that would not preclude us moving forward.
No.
In fact,
I'm fine moving forward.
if we can do the data dump, that'll just save us even more money. Okay, thank you. I'll move on then to court administration. I'd like to just verbally change the title to the 7th Court Phase 1 Total Project Cost.
Commissioners, 7th Court means, which means a judge plus, right? That's what.
This is definitely a plus.
7th Court, Church plus phase one. This is a capital project request warrant for the expenditures that will be needed to build the courtroom, to relocate the offices, and it's broken down with the courts, the treasurer, the communications, human resources, and legal witness. And also there's estimated amounts in there for construction, which would include drywall, studding, painting, carpeting, ceiling tiles, doors, windows, hardware, counters, formica, anything building related, including permit fees and architectural fees for sand filling.
And I don't know if this is a complete change, but I know that I had asked to try to capture in a central location the best we could develop of all the costs associated with the facility part of the space allocation tied to the 7th court. So I want to thank John and everyone else in budget finance for working with this, and I believe that this is a good estimation of all of our costs. I'll just note too that we had a productive conversation. John, I thank you for trying to capture, and we have some other notes coming in. We're trying to capture the potential staffing of the 7th court that may be coming forward. Preliminarily, it's looking better than what I may have anticipated originally. Everyone was very cooperative, in fact, thinking about potentially not having to add staff, at least not automatically. Somewhat. There's certainly some staff that are statutory, as well as some staff that are needed. We'll be bringing that forward at a later date as well.
If this is just part of the capital improvement, this doesn't include any staffing.
Yeah, we want to capture all those costs and try to, the reason for the verbiage change is we feel it's important to make people understand it's not just we're hiring a judge who, by the way, the state pays for it. This is a large undertaking, and our verbiage should reflect that. There's a lot involved in adding an additional court. A lot of people, a lot of capital as well.
I think there's a couple of points that need to be made here, and that is that, it could have been a lot more expensive than this, if we would have had to build new facilities. And so we take advantage of utilizing the fullest extent possible existing space. And I think we also made a smart purchase of the Echo building, which will help us in the future, not just with the court, the 7th court, but also with future space demand. So, if you would take a look at what it would cost us to build a brand new facility, I think it would be a lot more than what we're looking at. But it's good to tabulate those costs, because I think it is important for the public to understand that, when the General Assembly is supposedly, by order of the Supreme Court, fully fund the unified judicial system, which means to provide full funding for our court system throughout the state of Pennsylvania, that the General Assembly falls short. They've never met that obligation as provided for in a ruling by the state Supreme Court, I think on 2 occasions. So we get compensation for the judge's salary, but that is not all that goes with it. And the county's property taxpayers end up picking up the cost, even though that's not the way it's really supposed to work. So, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much, John. That takes us to Commissioner Liaison Reports. Commissioner DiFilippo.
This week I attended the Children's Services Citizens Advisory Committee. It was mentioned that the caseworker turnover rate is dropping, which is a good thing. It also mentioned that the Shippensburg program continues to be a good source of new caseworkers. So we're glad to hear that. Nikki McElwee gave a full update on the provisional licensing situation. All appreciated what she had to say. I also also attended the local emergency planning committee meeting. Up to date, hazmat calls are 26 calls so far this year. And for hazmat training, the group has received 932 hours so far this year. And so what else can I tell you here? The Sarah Summit coming up on October 23rd. And there is a request for the hazmat team. If anybody knows any companies, etc., trying to get rid of pallet racking, they need this information for some of their exercises. Also, there is a presentation by Steve Deck from the Tri-County Planning Commission on the regional traffic plan. And next meeting is November 8th for LEPC. The Western Council of Governments met earlier this week. Their solicitor, Marcus McKnight, recommended that each municipality have a disaster plan in place. He mentioned that we all agreed it's worth the time involved because it makes the municipalities eligible for FEMA funding. Some other items to note: Dickinson Township, they've been working on zoning ordinance revisions. The Board of Supervisors will be taking action on those revisions pretty soon. Penn Township, Gary Martin reported that they are reestablishing its Park and Recreation Committee. He also mentioned that the Planning Commission is now going to have one voting alternate member, which I think is a good idea. The Mains Warehouse Project will soon be testing the injection wells again, and the Ridge Warehouse Project is under construction. There's also comment from the West Pennsboro manager stating that there seems to be a wastewater, stormwater runoff on some of the farms in West Pennsboro Township. No names were mentioned, but advised them to contact Carl Osborne of our Conservation District. Carl's aware of this, that I notified Carl of this, and I asked the folks to provide us with names so Carl and his staff can go out and educate the farmers if in fact they are not abiding by wastewater procedures. Next, these aren't necessarily liaison reports. I just want to announce that I attended the dedication of the Report Headwater Preserve. It was very well attended, and comments were very appreciative to Cumberland County, the Board of Commissioners, and our Land Partnerships program. My colleagues and I attended the new Veterans Administration medical building out in Upper Allen Township this past week, went very well. Our new Director of Veterans Affairs was able to attend and gave a nice speech. Amber Andrews, and I think everybody was happy that she was there. I believe that's it. I did miss the library meeting, but Sandy attended. Thank you, Sandy. And if you could just give us a brief update on what happened at the library meeting. And that'll be it for me.
At the library board meeting that was held on September 17th, the highlights were that the press release highlighting Banned Books Week was distributed to our media. Banned Books Week is scheduled for September 23rd through September 29th and is an annual effort to support the risks and dangers of censorship, the importance of free access to information, and our fundamental freedom to read. Library Board is also working with leaderships of 3 county departments to continue or cultivate new partnerships. All libraries have been invited to assist domestic violence services of Cumberland and Perry counties in their awareness project scheduled for October 2018. Boston Library is considered serving as an internship site for Project Search program overseen by Cumberland County Office of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, and they have a meeting that is scheduled for Friday, September 21st, 2018. Boston Library and Simpson Library agreed to work with Cumberland County Office of Aging and host the 2019 Senior Spelling Meeting at one of their libraries in May. also approved the revised website and social network policy, so that it was in accordance with the county's new policy, and an updated policy manual will be posted to the internet. I would also like to mention that Bosler is hosting Celebrate the Book Week, October 19th through October 27th. The mission of the Celebrate the Book Week is to bring writers and readers together and engage the community in reading, writing, listening, and speaking opportunities to explore and celebrate the joy of reading and the power of literacy and lifelong learning. And that's all I have to report.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Sandy. Commissioner Hertzler?
Okay, thanks, Steve. So I missed the workshop last meeting. As conflicted with the quarterly meeting of the statewide 911 advisory board, to which I'm a member across the river at Pima. I'll report today on the August 28th annual awards presentation meeting and picnic of the Cumberland County Conservation District Board. I know we also put out a subsequent press release on this, but for the record here, this year's 2018 recipient of the Watershed Protection Award was the Central Pennsylvania Conservancy. The Clean Water Award was presented to the contracting firm of Diffin Paul Waddle, Inc. The Farmer of the Year Award was presented to Hard-Earned Acres owners Bob and Barb Kiefer, and Conservation Educator Awards were presented to teachers Jenny Hires and Amber Sims, I believe, both from the Cumberland Valley School District. The district board at its August meeting also approved a proposed 2019 budget, which through all of its accounts totals about $1.75 million, much of it generated through grants and fees, and which, as I understand from District Director Doshorn, will save the county about $50,000 in subsidy expense in 2019. I'm looking at Dana because I want her to mark that down. Meanwhile, from the 911 advisory board meeting, we took action to recommend the retention of the current 911 fee distribution formula for 2019. And that should also be good for our projections on revenue to support our 911 operations in the next year. They haven't changed the eligibility list. The formula is not being changed, so it looks as though we should be able to count on that. And of course, as we all know, the new 911 fee that was implemented about 4 years ago now is generating significant new revenues for counties to help defray the property taxpayer costs for the operation of our 911 centers. Among other business, we heard a presentation from a representative of the State Attorney General's office on the implementation of a new statewide tip line beginning in January with respect to anonymous tips of school safety threats. And it's called the Safe to Say program. That was part of the law that was passed by the General Assembly prior to their recess for the summer, intended to bolster school safety. I think the legislation also included some additional funds to help support school safety measures. So as a result of this Safe to Say program, there's going to be an app, and tips will be able to be made online or via the telephone, and the tip line will be staffed 24/7 at a centralized state location, and all the tips will then be disseminated to schools, 911 centers, and law enforcement. Needless to say, there were a number of questions raised by me and other county representatives at the meeting as to exactly how this is all going to work. Again, I think we all are supportive of doing anything we can to promote school safety and eliminate any risks that might exist. But it's pretty clear that this is going to place some additional responsibility on all of our 911 centers. And what we underscored is that as these tips are passed out from the state to us at the 911 dispatch centers, that we're also primarily just pass-through entity. We take the emergency calls, and that's primarily the responsibility to take emergency calls, and then pass that information on to our first responders, whether that be the police, ambulance, or our fire companies. So in any event, all the fine details on this are still being worked out. And the AG's office is working to find the best way to deploy the system and to work in partnership with local government and the counties. And under the law, they've got a very short time frame, because this is all supposed to be implemented and launched January the 14th. So anyway, that's all I have at the moment. I will mention this, that it's kind of sad in a way to see the departure of one of the key advocates of the 911 legislation that helped our counties, Senator Randy Malakovich. It was his last meeting of the 911 Advisory Board, and he actually took a personal direct interest as chair of the Senate Emergency Committee. It attended all of these meetings to make sure that the law that they passed was being implemented properly. So he was defeated in the primary election. He's a Republican state senator from Alameda County. I just hope that whoever is the new chair of the Senate Emergency Management Committee is as dedicated as Senator Malakovich was. And then just mentioned that I have the Housing Redevelopment Authority meeting at noon, so I'm going to shut up. And also tomorrow, the Harrisburg Area Transportation Study Coordinating across the river, we'll see what there is learned from that. So that's all.
Always a good time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Eichelberger?
Okay, just a handful of items. I corresponded with Justin and Justin Miller at Recycling, and he said that he's on his way to the Leadership Cumberland retreat since we appointed him for that. So he gave me just a very brief update and said that most of the invoices in for the household hazardous waste event from 2 weeks ago. He's finalizing some of the reporting that we expect. He'll have that to us shortly, so I'll be sure to make sure to see that that gets distributed. I think he'll send it to all three of us anyway. So you'll be seeing that soon. The meeting of the Recycling Authority was canceled for lack of business this past week. On planning, we had most of the projects that we've been working on for planning, as always, have already come before us. So I won't repeat myself on a number of those things. The Planning Commission meeting was also, which was scheduled for this morning, was also canceled. The commission, however, is narrowing down the list of the names for the vacancies. So we will be hearing from them soon. Kurt will come in and present to us. And also in the land partnerships, we've received an email update, but Kurt mentioned to me that they're going to be giving us a formal opportunity to ask questions about the program and to brief us on the types of projects that were approved. We had 10 applicants this year, all 10 got some funding. That's kind of unusual, but I think it's a testament to the fact that as the grant program matures, folks are getting a better understanding of what's eligible, and we're getting just better quality of proposals in the door. So certainly the ability to seed each of those that really have meaningful impact in their communities and that correspond with the goals outlined by the comprehensive plan as well. So that continues to be a very successful program. Kirk asked me to pass along that the advertising for the Gorse Bridge project should proceed on schedule. The advertising will be next week. That'll take place next week, and the bids early November. So we should have meaningful cost information at that point and continue to move forward on it. I got asked about it at the cloud picnic the other night. I'm sure you guys probably got asked about it as well. So
still on track for construction in 2019.
It's so far, that's what it's looking like. We'll see what the bids bring in, but hopefully that all remains on track. The Kirk asked me also to pass along that they're finalizing a presentation for the Historical Society that will involve a tracking of the historic growth of the county. And Jeff Kelly's taking the lead on that, and September 27th at 3 p.m. he's going to be making a presentation at the Historical Society. So if anybody has the opportunity, we've all seen Jeff, very engaging. I'm sure the content will be very interesting and very relevant to all the issues that we're dealing with as well. So the let's see, MHIDD, the board meeting is today. I plan on attending that at noon time. We dealt with the contracts earlier with Annie and the appointment. And other than that, let's see, we did have the meeting last week with the executive committee of the Economic Development Corporation, and of course we had the board meeting this week. And the major topic is the continuance of the executive search for the CEO position in the wake of John Bowser's departure. So people are making good progress on that. The hope would be that we would be prepared to seat someone early January, I think is the realistic target. And that's pretty aggressive. But
we officially advertised
the job description was finalized, and at the board meeting there was some additional input, and there was an approval of the description pending the inclusion of that information, and it was only a few little snippets, so it was 99.9% done. Mm-hmm. So that is going to as soon as the consultant writes that in the proper verbiage, because apparently you have to wait long order or something, and one of the magic words. Once all that is done, then it'll go to the executive search firm, and they will be responsible for placing all the advertising. That should happen imminently. So that was pretty much the extent of the major conversations. Maybe one or two other small items that I may think of later, and I'll just pass those along to you, nothing significant. And I just wanted to mention, last thing, it was in terms of the calendar for the last 2 weeks, I want to reiterate what a privilege it was to be part of the dedication ceremony that we had this past week for the Dennis Marion Public Services Building. I considered it an honor to still be in office and to be able to be a participant in that, and wanted to extend thanks to staff, Sandy in particular, for putting together a very appropriate tribute event for something that really is to have establish a lasting presence in the community and represent the things that Dennis Marion stood for. For those who weren't able to join us, there is a videotape. Samantha, I believe it's on our Facebook page, and I inquired about whether we could put it on YouTube. I think that was trying to work through some issues with that. Yeah. So, and it was a very nice, one short article in the Harrisburg newspaper. I didn't see anything in the Carlisle newspaper, but so well, the videotape is available if these things can still be rectified. So anyhow, that was a tremendous privilege, I think, to be part of that, and I was very pleased that all three of us could participate in that. I think they're doing a magnificent job for a truly important occasion. So I just want to pass that on. That's everything I have.
If I might, I also want to thank Commissioner Eckelberger for his terrific remarks. I was certainly honored to be there and participate as well. It was the same way, and it was a fitting tribute to somebody who gave so much to this county and his fellow human being. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which wasn't brought up here, is Vince and I attended, but Mr. Eckelberger was attending the annual breakfast of the Greater Harrisburg Association of Realtors, and that was interesting. Meeting, we had representation from Dauphin County, Commissioner Freeze and Commissioner Bartlett were there, Well, as a result of that, one of the things that they gave us some data relative to the situation with respect to housing and especially real estate sales. And one of the things that they are discovering is that there is actually a lack of inventory. And I think, we know that. So one of the things I think our director of planning is working with the realtors on this issue. It's one of the things that we have identified in our comprehensive plan. But I do think, I think it'd be good to bring all the disparate elements of this issue together, either in some kind of a task force or roundtable, try to see what we might be able to do to address this issue. We've got, a high demand for working family housing. And I'm talking, not high income family. We've got a lot of folks who work at the warehouses. They need to have a place to live. Okay? And the rents in this area are, going up and up because of the demand. I think that overall, the cost of housing in Cumberland County compared to a lot of other areas of the state and around the country are pretty good. Not out of sight, but it does appear that we need to do what we can. We have limited federal resources and different, there's different options, but I think it'd be good to bring together, all the different groups with the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, CADIC, our financial institutions, our community services folks at the aging, and all the different entities that are involved in addressing the issue of housing, and try to see what we can do in terms of trying to provide for better coordination. So I think our director of planning is a good person to maybe be the point person on this. And I did have an initial conversation with Kirk yesterday about it, but it's something I think that, as a county and working in partnership with all these other different entities, that I think we should try to see what we can do to help address the issue. Okay. My thoughts.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. I'd like to report that executive sessions were held on the following dates in 2018, September 12th at 1:30 p.m. regarding potential litigation, September 12th at 2 p.m. and September 19th at 1:30 p.m., all regarding personnel issues. I'd also like to request an executive session be held immediately following this meeting. And that takes us to other business. I believe we have Melissa Smith with Sodexo, and we'll ask if there's any other business.
I received the signed Sodexo contract on Tuesday, so I missed the cutoff time, but I'd like to be considered for signature and discuss it in great detail earlier. The increase is $11,041.42 from this current year, and it is a 3-year contract with a fixed 2% increase over those 3-year period.
So we had previously discussed this, and there's still, though, if we decide to move in a different direction, there is an outlaw.
60 days.
2% each year.
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Yes, 2% each year.
I heard you say 2% in over 3 years.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. No problem, just want to be clear.
Melissa, is this the total that we have, $435,000 for the entire 3-year period?
No.
Per year?
436 per year.
It's a 2% increase.
Yes.
Year 2, year 3. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions on that, Commissioners? And is that for Monday?
Yes, if we can get signed Monday, that would be great.
Okay. Any other business to come forward today?
I want to commend Alyssa, for your work in getting that extension of the VA contract down at the museum.
I'm so glad, thank you.
You know, with the group term, so that, thank you for that.
Oh, it took everybody, but thank you. I'm just glad it worked out the way it did.
was big, yeah. Yes, congrats on that. Okay, any other business? Hearing none, we're adjourned. We can